Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to finish up the series that I've been doing where I go over the most commonly picked champions in each role based on, team priority. Today we have support. I am debating on whether to do a second video with support like I did with Smolder for ADC and Azir for mid lane. Maybe take all the Ashe games out, look at Vision Score. I'm also debating on whether to add a video in regards to maybe AD carry and take the Senna games out and see how CS and gold per minute and things like that would have changed, or rank the players based on, the Senna games being taken out. But regardless, this is about support. So 9 different champions were most picked by a player. There were quite a few players that had ties. I utilized win-loss as the first tiebreaker, and then after that, I kind of half-assed KDA'd it. Who had the best? What was the best KDA for that player on those champions? You know what I'm saying. So that was the second tiebreaker. Now Nautilus clearly the most picked. 20 out of the starting 45 supports choosing Nautilus more than anything else. And similar to yesterday's video, where I kind of noticed, hey, the majority of the players that actually finished high up in the standings, their teams did not have that crazy prio on Nautilus or weren't allowed to pick it. We also have to keep in mind that if a player may have a crazy Nautilus, it could just be banned no matter what, and the player doesn't get to play it, but that is just an additional thing to think about. So, in the case of Nautilus, from the LPL, we have Wink on IG, Jue from Ultra Prime, Iwandi from Team Wii, Mako from Top Esports, Vampire from EDG, Joao from Ninja in Pajamas, Zora from Rare Atom, and Hung from LNG. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8 of 17 LPL supports choosing Nautilus more than anything else, but that it ends up being the majority. I don't think there's another one where LPL has more representation, but it is something to think about because the last couple videos, in the case of Xin Zhao and Varus, it was heavily LPL favored in like over 10, maybe even 12 each of the supports of the respective roles playing those champions often. So just something to kind of look at. From the LCK, Barrel on KT, Execute on FearX, Andal, KDF, and Palu from Brion. So that's 4 of the 10 starters from Korea preferring Nautilus. Ios from Dignitas, Huhi from NRG, Ayla from 100 Thieves, Vulcan from Cloud9, Core JJ Team Liquid, Zazel, Shopify Rebellion. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hell, 7 of the 8 starting supports picking Nautilus in the LCS. Clearly they had a thing for Nautilus. Only one player not mentioned out of those, and that is Buzio on FlyQuest, and we'll get to him shortly. In the LEC, it's Zoli's on Team Rogue and Trimby on Heretics. Just something to add to that, Kaiser, one of his most played was Nautilus as well, so regardless, Heretics ends up represented with the Nautilus. After that, we have Rakan. 9 of the 45 starters playing Rakan more than anything else. Crisp from Weibo, PP God OMG, and On from BLG, 3 LPL supports. Playeta from Team DRX, Kellen from D plus Kia, Delight from HLE, 3 of the 10 starters for the LCK. Ignar, Targamas, and Hillisung, all playing it a lot in the LEC, so that's 3 of the 10 starting LEC supports. And looking at this, that is tied for the most common for the LEC. So, a good player and on there, Delight, so clearly Rakan being a common pick for quite a few supports. Renata, not heavily favored in the East. Jin Zhao is the only Eastern support on here, and LGD sucked, so that's something to think about. Buzio from the LCS, he played Renata more than anything else. And then Mickey on G2, Alvaro, Mad Lions Koi, and Doss from SK all playing Renata the most, or at least tied for the most, and then tiebreakers thereafter. Yeah, so, it might be that the West allowed it to go through the draft more, or they just had a higher priority on the champion. Emilio, all Eastern priority. Cal on anyone's legend. Chow Chow Thundertalk. Peter, Nongshim Red Force. And Lahens on Gen G, playing Emilio often. Nami, we have what you could argue. I don't think it's actually up for much of a debate. Carria and Missing, the two best supports in the world, are it's kind of ironic. They both played Nami more than anything else, and the only two that did. So Lucian Nami, a very common pick for T1 in JDG this past season. Well, split. Rel, high LEC priority. June from Fnatic and Team BDS's Labrov, playing Rel more than anything else this year thus far. And then three solo players down here, kind of on their own little mission. In the case of Rumble support, Life on Fun Plus Phoenix, playing it more than anything else. If you did watch any of those games, it clearly was a very good pick for them. Alistar, Ming from RNG, playing that more than anything else. And Bard was picked by Ole on Immortals as they were on Struggle Street, and that was his most common pick. So, definitely one. You go off on an island and you kind of do your own thing, and one of those three champions and one of those three supports end up high up in the standings in their respective regions. So that's what we're going to go over now, is just where did the top teams end up. Let's just try and draw a little bit of a correlation here if we can. When I did AD carry in mid lane, I utilized, and top lane, I think I utilized DPM, but maybe top lane I didn't, because top laners are, they vary. But in the case of mid and AD carry, I did, and then maybe top and jungle, I did win rate. So, in the case of the LCS, Isla played Nautilus more than anything else, but then Busio played Renata more than anything else, so different vibe there when it comes to champion selection. In the case of the LEC, Mickey X playing Renata more than anything else as well. And then we have June and Labrov in second and third on Fnatic and BDS playing Rel. You could argue what were the other... there's high Rakan priority in the LEC, but those teams not necessarily as high up in the standings as the others that prioritize Renata and Rel, and frankly, even flexing Rel in the case of Fnatic and BDS. I did combine winter and spring regular seasons for these picks as well. In the LCK, third place, Delight played Rakan for HLE more than anything else. Carria, Nami, like I said, and then Lahens playing a lot of Melio, and ended up, finishing first. So a high Melio priority didn't make much of a difference for them. They end up, taking advantage of it. The bot lane, definitely getting some criticism right now. I think it's a bit unfounded, but either way, they end up where they are in the standings. Top 5 teams in the LPL, Zhuo playing Nautilus, Life playing Rumble in fourth, followed by third place, Missing with Nami, Mako second on Nautilus, and on Rakan first. So what? We have 1, 2, 3. Out of the 20 players that played Nautilus more than anything else, only 3 of them were top third in their region. And then you really kind of even think about the next step here. 3 of 13 teams that I'm highlighting, right? Yeah, 13 ended up in the Nautilus group, right? So it's a very low amount of those elite teams playing a lot of Nautilus. They found other champions to play, or they ate Nautilus bans. And all these other teams, Nautilus went through and it didn't help them. They picked a bunch of Nautilus, and in the end, they didn't, get wins out of it. And sure, we're not going to say that is the end-all, be-all of those teams, but it is something interesting to think about. Hell, I mean, you got 20 players there, and only 3 of them actually played a lot of Nautilus and made the playoffs. I mean, yeah, high up in the standings in the regular season. So, yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.